Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Now, this is the third part of our discussion regarding anti-malarials. In the previous discussion, we have discussed the life cycle strata, the classification, and then we started to discuss to go through the important aspects of drugs used as anti-malarials, out of which we have discussed up till now chloroquine and the quinine, quinidine, etc. Now, in this section, we will discuss the remaining drugs and especially the important aspects of the drugs. Now, mefloquine. It's a synthetic one and usually chemical related to quinine. The characteristic of this mefloquine is it has a strong blood horizontal activity against many chloroquine resistant stages of Plasmodium falciparum, and even the other species also, Vivax, ovale, etc. But it is not active against the tissue schizontis, that is hepatic stages, or the gametocytes. It is only blood schizontocytal drug. Mechanism of action of this drug is although unknown. However, like chloroquine, it increases the levels of heme by blocking its conversion into hemozyme. But we have seen the drug target resides outside the vacuolar compartment, while in chloroquine they were inside. Its only positive non-inhibitor part is that it is showing the anti-malarial activity. If we combine mefloquine with the artemisinin 8, this combination is very useful for the treatment of Plasmodium falciparum malariae, even in those regions in where there is high prevalence of mefloquine resistant parasite, but when it comes into combination with the artemisinin, it becomes effective. This combination also prevents itself from damage by heme. That parasite produces a protective chemical that converts heme into a non-toxic compound. It is also given to reduce the emergence of resistance against anti-malarial drugs. Regarding pharmacokinetic of these drugs, it is given orally, and when given orally, it is well absorbed. It's, remember, not given through injection apparently because it has severe local irritation effect. So, neither subcutaneously, intravenously, or intravenously, only orally. Excretion is mainly through fecal route. Only 20% of this drug is excreted unchanged form in the urine. Regarding therapeutic indications of this mefloquine, it is reserved for the treatment and prevention of malaria caused by chloroquine resistance or even multi-drug resistance Plasmodium falciparum. So, this is very important for Viva, for MCQ, for HCQ. The first use, it must be kept in mind. It is also useful as prophylactic agent for non-immune travelers who stay for only brief period in the endemic areas. Mefloquine and haloperidol, they are only agents capable of ensuring suppression and cure of infection caused by multi-drug resistance of Plasmodium falciparum. So, along with mefloquine, the other drug which is useful for the multi-drug is the haloperidol. The drawback, that is, both these drugs they cannot be given parenterally, and they are given only orally. So, regarding acute cases, then quinidine and quinine are useful for such acute cases. Otherwise, these mefloquine and haloperidol are used for the non-acute cases. Regarding toxicity or the side effects of mefloquine, like headache, disturbed sleep, etc., visual disturbance, then damage to inner ear, leading to balance problem like vertigo, then paresthesia, then pins and needle-like sensation, palpitation, or changes in the blood pressure, hypo and hyper-like, and even somnolence and sleepiness. These are the few side and the toxic effects of mefloquine. Other are some skin rashes, etc., although rare, but we have seen regarding GIT, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain. Some psychiatric reactions we have seen depression and mood changes, and even anxiety, psychotic, panic attacks, etc., etc. Regarding CNS, some convulsive fits we have seen in few patients, and also with dizziness. Contraindications of mefloquine: allergic to quinine because it related to quinine. So, if allergic to quinine, the patient may be allergic to mefloquine also. It is also not safe during lactation period, and especially patient with history of convulsion or other psychiatric illness, etc., and some abnormality in the liver function. So, these contraindications should be kept in mind. Other drug, amidoiquine. Amidoiquine is closely related to chloroquine and also shows the mechanism of action of and resistance even of chloroquine. Amidoiquine, it was widely used to treat malaria because of its low cost and very limited toxicity and even effectiveness against chloroquine resistance of plasmodium, but due to possible toxicity including agranulocytosis, aplastic and hepatitis. These are very severe toxic effects. Agranulocytosis, aplastic anemia, and hepatotoxicity. Their use have been limited now. But after re-evaluation, cis toxicity is uncommon with short-term use, so only use for short-term period, amidoiquine. Now, this part is also again very important for VIVA, for MCQs, for SCQ. Now, WHO has recommended the combination of this amidoiquine with the artesunate 8, especially for the falciparum malaria. We have seen previously also that this combination is the first line therapy for the treatment of uncomplicated falciparum malaria in many African countries. Long-term chemoprophylaxis with amidoiquine is best avoided because of its therapeutic increase, as we have discussed previously. But short-term seasonal malarial prevention with amidoiquine plus sulfadoxine or pyrimethamine combination, so that may be recommended as per WHO also in Africa. Usually it's a monthly treatment dosage for 3 to 4 months during the transmission season. Similarly, piperacquine, it was also very widely used to treat chloroquine-resistant falciparum, especially in China, until its widespread resistance developed. Now, however, more recently what we have seen is the combination of piperacquine with dihydroartemisinin that have shown an excellent efficacy and safety for the treatment of Plasmodium falciparum infection in Africa only, not in Southeast Asia. Its half-life is very long, while comparatively amidoiquine, mefloquine, mefloquine, they have a lesser half-life than piperacquine. So that is why their use in long-term treatment prophylaxis in high transmission area are advocated. Now, artemisinin or Xinguasu. So basically, it is derived from the wild plant Xinguao, which is a sweet wormwood, and the derivatives of this Xinguasu are artemisinin, artemether, and artesunate. Regarding the mechanism of action, Xinguasu, it works via oxygen-based free radical. It's highly reactive that becomes activated in the presence of iron. We know iron is an oxidant, but in our body, iron is not present in free form. It will be present in free form, it will become toxic also. So, usually in our body, it's present in the bound form of hemoglobin or enzymes. So, this is protected from our body or human being is protected from the excessive iron overload. The malarial parasite accumulates iron by infecting iron-rich red blood cells, as we have seen previously. They were in search of essential amino acid present in the hemoglobin. Now, excessive iron that is spilled out onto the surrounding tissues also, that will activate the artemisinin to generate a burst of free radicals that attack the iron-rich cells, killing the parasite in the process. Antiprotozoal activity, it acts rapidly upon erythrocytic, that is asexual erythrocytic stage of plasmodium vivax, and chloroquine resistance or resistant multi-drug resistant strains of Plasmodium falciparum. Artemisinin and other derivatives, they are although not used clinically to treat such infection, but may exhibit antiparasitic activity against Leishmania major, Toxoplasma gonadai, and the schistosomiasis. Regarding therapeutic uses, the most rapidly acting, effective and safe drugs these Shingwasu are. So, they are for the treatment of severe malaria, including infection due to chloroquine and multi-drug resistant of Plasmodium falciparum. As we have seen, therefore, WHO has recommended the use of the Shingwasu nowadays as a first line, obviously in various conditions along with other combinations. So, remember, it is even very much safer in pregnancy. It should not be used for malaria prophylaxis and mild attacks, only for severe attacks. Also effective against cerebral malaria, but infection often relapses. So, if there is therapy is not continued for 5 to 7 days. So, that is why in cerebral malaria we have seen we prefer usually quinidine, etc. So, a brief course of this artemisinin is given with some longer acting quinolone or antimalarial antibiotics, for example, mefloquine or doxycycline. Usually, they prevent the relapses and may delay the development of drug resistance. Regarding adverse effects, comparatively they are less toxic than other antimalarial drugs. But however, dose-related transient first degree heart block we have seen in few of the patients. There is prolongation of the QT interval. Also, there are brief attacks of drug-induced fever, neurotoxicity or bone marrow depression, and possibility of long-term toxicity. Regarding primaquine, its antimalarial actions we have seen previously also, basically is a tissue size anticidal drug. So, it destroys the late hepatic stages and latent tissue forms of Plasmodium vivax and ovale, and thus primaquine has great clinical value for the radical cure of relapsing malaria of these species. Although it has activity against hepatic stages of Plasmodium falciparum, the compound is ineffective against erythrocytic stage. So, it is not used clinically to treat acute attack of Plasmodium falciparum. So, they are useful only as tissue size anticidal. Basically, it is an 8-aminochlorine. These 8-aminochlorines, they exert marked gabitocidal effects also against all the 4 types of Plasmodium falciparum, vivax, ovale and malaria, etc. Regarding mechanism of action, primaquine is more active against tissue forms and gametes than asexual forms of Plasmodia. So, if primaquine, if converted to electrophiles, it acts as an oxidation reduction mediator. Now, remember, such oxidative reductive mediator activity could contribute to antimalarial effect by generating reactive oxygen species or interfering with the electron transport in the parasites. As far as the pharmacokinetic is concerned, after parenteral administration, it can produce very marked hypotension. So, therefore, primaquine is given only by the oral route. This is again MCQ, SCQ and viva question. Its absorption from the GIT is nearly complete. In the body, primaquine is rapidly metabolized. Very small fraction of primaquine is excreted as unchanged. Regarding therapeutic uses, as we have seen, it is reserved only for the terminal prophylaxis and radical cure of vivax and ovale only relapsing malaria due to these species. So, because of its highly active efficacy in the tissues, in the hepatic form of these plasmodium species. So, if it is combined with blood cytotoxin like chloroquine to eradicate ulcerative stage also, so they reduce the possibility of emerging drug resistance also. For terminal prophylaxis, primaquine regimens are initiated shortly before or immediately after the patient leaves an endemic area. Remember, the radical cure of Plasmodium vivax and ovale that can be achieved if the drug is given either during the long-term latent period of infection or during an acute attack, so that later on it will start showing its effects on the tissues. As far as the side effects or toxic effects are concerned, with the usual therapeutic doses, there may be mild side effects only on the GIT, and even those are relieved if the drug is taken with meal. And very less common seen these mild anemia or cyanosis due to methylhemoglobinemia or leukocytosis. If the dose is increased with like up to 240 milligram of primaquine, even they will produce the same GIT symptom but some sort of in more severity, and they can also cause methylhemoglobinemia in most of the subjects with the high dosages, and even few of the patients may suffer from leukopenia. Therapeutic or high dose of primaquine due to its oxidative metabolites may cause acute hemolysis or hemolytic anemia, especially with the patient suffering from glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. So, it is very important that patient should be tested for G6PD deficiency prior to prescribe primaquine to those patients. Now, how this primaquine can induce hemolytic anemia? That is what is the mechanism of action. Usually, this glucose 6-phosphate deficiency results in a decrease in NADPH and this reduced form of glutathione, making the cell more sensitive to oxidative agent. So this causes hemolysis. Remember, primaquine oxidizes the reduced glutathione to oxidized glutathione. Therefore, less reduced glutathione is available to neutralize the toxic compound, and that may produce hemolysis. As far as the contraindications concerned, especially the very acutely ill patients suffering from systemic diseases like agranulocytopenia or active form of rheumatoid arthritis, lupus erythematosus, these are the few examples of acutely ill patients. And also patients receiving other potentially hemolytic drugs or agents capable of depressing the myeloid elements of the bone marrow. Atovaquone is a component of Malarone, a fixed combination of atovaquone 250 milligram and proguanil 100 milligram. Now, it is recommended for the treatment and prevention of Plasmodium falciparum malaria. It is a fat soluble, so due to that it is given orally with fatty food to increase the absorption, and also its bioavailability is low and erratic. The absorbed drug, heavily protein bounded, has a half life about 2 to 3 days, and mostly it is eliminated in unchanged form as such in the feces. It acts against Plasmodia by disrupting the mitochondrial electron transport. That is the mechanism action of ativaquone. This ativaquone is active against tissue and erythrocytic cytons both, but only against the sensitive strain. For chemoprophylaxis, this combination melanonon, which this ativaquone is present, it has an advantage over other combinations of mefloquine doxycycline because it is short time given combination, but only problem is it's more expensive than mefloquine and doxycycline combination. It is also an alternative therapy for the mild to moderate specific fungal infection, that is Pneumocystis jirovecii, causing pneumonia, although its efficacy is lower than that of trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole. Ativaquone has also been useful in immunocompromised patients with the toxoplasmosis and those who are unresponsive to other agents. Regarding adverse effects, usually is well tolerated, only abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, etc. And those are also only with the higher dosages. And we have also seen some reversible elevation in the liver enzyme. However, it is not advised during pregnancy. Although it is considered safe for use in children with body weight above 5 kg, but we have not recommended this drug during pregnancy. Plasma concentration of ativaquone, they are reduced about 50% if combined with tetracycline or rifampicin. So don't combine ativaquone with tetracycline or rifampicin. Now, halofentine. Structurally, this halofentine is related to quinine, and its mechanism of action is similar to all these chloroquine, quinine, and mefloquine, and especially by forming toxic complexes with the ferritoporphyrin 9 that damage the membrane of the parasite. Regarding pharmacokinetic, it is also given only orally. Bioavailability is low and variable, and usually may be doubled if taken with a fatty meal, and its peak plasma concentrations are achieved within 4 to 8 hours after the oral administration. Half-life of this halofentine is 1 to 3 days, and its active metabolites may show their half-life up to 7 days. Regarding adverse effects and contraindication, side effects are mild type of abdominal pain and diarrhea, but there may be prolongation of QT interval and some fatal arrhythmias may be seen. Regarding contraindication, obviously there may be prolonged QT interval, both congenital electrolyte disorder, myocardial disease, etc. However, less toxic than quinine and mefloquine regarding this adverse effect. Pregnancy and lactation and infancy who have received patient mefloquine in the preceding 3 weeks also contraindicated. Proguanil is a biguanide derivative. Remember, we have also seen some biguanide useful in the management of the diabetes mellitus, but this proguanil is antimalarial. It is slowly absorbed from the GIT, but usually, as far as absorption, it's quite adequate. The peak plasma level of proguanil we have seen within 5 hours after an oral dose, and its elimination half-life is about 16th hour. So, must be given daily for a prophylaxis. Although it is active against erythrocytic form of susceptible strains of all 4 species and also have some activity against tissue cytotocidal hepatic form, but it is not adequately gabitocidal or effective against these Plasmodium vivax and ovale. It is useful only as a gabitocidal against Plasmodium falciparum especially and Plasmodium malariae.